I'm so annoyed that I didn't even do the intro. One normal night. One normal day for Manchester United. We can't even get that. If you haven't seen, social media is currently, you can probably hear it in the background, exploding. Yes, for Fernando Perez says the creepy intro. Yes. I know. Because social media is exploding at the moment from the revelations from Cristiano Ronaldo. Just as we were basking in the glory and basking in the happiness of the 2-1 last-minute victory against Fulham this evening at Craven Cottage. Alejandro Garnacho, of course, gets that last-minute goal. We are not talking about the game. We are not talking about Manchester United's victory. We are not talking about Manchester United's progress under Erik ten Hag. We are talking about Cristiano Ronaldo, because it was announced about an hour ago. That Piers Morgan had done this interview with Cristiano Ronaldo. It's breaking news. Piers Morgan said, I've done this interview with Cristiano Ronaldo. It's the most explosive interview of his career. And when he said that, I think every Manchester United fan did a collective, here we go. And not a Romano, here we go. Like, what is going to happen now? Now, we waited for an hour because I think it's important to wait and try and provide things in as much context as possible. And it must be said, the full interview that Cristiano Ronaldo has done with Piers Morgan is going to be airing this Wednesday. So the full episode, the full interview is going to be aired later on next week. However, the headlines and the top quotes that are coming out right now that are being released by Piers Morgan, by his program, by The Sun. It's the front page of the newspapers tomorrow because, again, that's the same company. They are going in on Manchester United. Cristiano Ronaldo has slammed the club. You cannot dress this up. Listen to the quotes because this is absolutely incredible, frankly. So, Ronaldo was asked by Piers Morgan if he believes the club are trying to force him out. Ronaldo said, and I quote, "Yes, not only the coach, but the other 2 or 3 around the club. I felt betrayed. I felt some people, they don't want me here, not only this year, but last season too." He also said about his manager, about the current coach of Manchester United, Erik ten Hag. Cristiano Ronaldo says he has no respect for Erik ten Hag. That is, in football, the ultimate no. The ultimate no-no. A hierarchy has to work in professional football. A hierarchy has to work at any club. You cannot go on, worldwide television, on social media and say you don't respect your manager. That is absolutely incredulous, outrageous. Cristiano Ronaldo should be absolutely ashamed of what he's done. And I was so concerned because before I had said that Cristiano Ronaldo hadn't tainted his legacy as a Manchester United player with walking out of Old Trafford. I said he hadn't tainted his legacy. People would look at it and people would be frustrated. But you cannot tell me that a Manchester United legend would do something like he did this evening. That is incredulous. I'm sitting here right now and I'm furious. I'm absolutely furious. Over the sake of what? That he's not playing, over the sake of that the manager whose job it is to play the best team possible, doesn't pick him at the age of nearly 38 years of age. That is incredulous, absolutely incredulous. He claims that he has been made the, quote, black sheep who gets blamed for all of Manchester United's failings. He also has said that Manchester United lack empathy after the tragedy he suffered earlier this year regarding his family, which, again, I think when we spoke about that tragedy earlier this year, everyone shared their support, and I still share my support to Cristiano Ronaldo because of that. It's a horrible situation to go through, and I think that has to be parked to one side, but also considered as well. He spoke about Ralf Rangnick, the previous Manchester United interim manager, saying, "If you're not even a coach, how are you going to be the boss of Manchester United? I've never even heard of him," referring to Ralf Rangnick. He's also spoke about the criticism of former teammate Wayne Rooney, saying, quote, "I don't know why he criticises me so much, probably because he's finished his career and I'm still playing at the top level." He's also said that since Sir Alex left, I saw no evolution in the club. Nothing had changed. Now, when it comes to Erik ten Hag, again, when it comes to one of, I think, the biggest no-no involving all of this, he has said, I don't have respect for him because he doesn't show respect for me. If you don't have respect for me, I'm never going to have respect for you. I cannot believe it. I cannot believe that. if you've got issues with your manager, if you've got issues with the club and the playing situation that you are in right now, the very least you can do is remain professional. This is not professionalism. It's not. As a Manchester United fan right now, I don't know what to think. I've literally just come on here. I've seen what you have seen in the last couple of minutes. I've come on here. I'm a mixture of furious. I'm a mixture of... I'm in complete disbelief. Well, I'm not, because I guess this is kind of in character, but I'm really upset. Honestly, I'm really, really upset. And to be honest, I'm really, really disappointed. This is really disappointing from a player that I love. Cristiano Ronaldo. I think most of you people watching love Cristiano Ronaldo. Even when he wasn't at the club, I was a huge Cristiano Ronaldo fan. And I think a lot of Manchester United fans over the years, when we've spoken about the Ronaldo versus Messi debate, you always back Ronaldo, because he's our guy. He's our guy. He's the guy that was at Manchester United. He won things with Manchester United. And we're not dumb. We're not daft. Manchester United are not the force they were under Sir Alex. And he's not technically wrong. Has the club evolved since Sir Alex left? No. Nothing has changed. Take that up with the owners. Take that up with the owners. In the interview, say something about the owners. Say something about something like that, maybe. But don't throw your teammates. Don't throw your manager under the bus and claim that, well, I don't respect him because he's not showing respect to me. Erik ten Hag is doing what he deems best for Manchester United. He felt that the side he picks is to win a game of football. Win a game of football. And I think that's ridiculous. You know? I have complete and total empathy and sympathy for the personal situations that Ronaldo have gone through, and I totally understand that as well. And again, I don't think that can be overlooked as well. But I am stunned, really stunned, by a lack of professionalism involved here. Really, truly am. I really, truly am stunned by this, and I think it's so disappointing, so disappointing. If this is about getting a move away from Manchester United, if this is about, getting the adulation that he craves, then that's fine. But there are far better ways to do it, and far more professional ways to do it, in my opinion. And I see this, and I'm so disappointed that we're here now talking this evening about an explosive interview about how a club that's betrayed him, rather than an impressive last-minute winner for Manchester United, and how we are on the right track when it comes to this manager. Instead, we're talking about another player. And you know me, I've said this all season when it comes to the Ronaldo thing. My biggest frustration with all of it is that we're always talking about him. For either good, bad, or indifferent reasons, we're always talking about him. Whether he plays and he doesn't play well, we'll talk about Ronaldo. If he's on the bench, we'll talk about Ronaldo. If he's not on the bench, we're talking about Ronaldo. Now what are we talking about Ronaldo? When we should be talking about Alejandro Garnacho. We should be talking about us winning the game today. But no, what are we talking about? We're talking about Ronaldo sitting down with Piers Morgan, saying that he doesn't respect the manager, and if he was betrayed by the club, and the club's trying to force him out. Well, at the same time, didn't Ronaldo want to move away from Manchester United? Didn't he want to play in a Champions League club? I mean, it's just, I think it's unbelievable, really unbelievable. And once again, United now find themselves at the centre of a storm, the eye of the storm, when it pertains to controversy and front page and back page headlines regarding Cristiano Ronaldo. And it's incredibly disappointing. A couple of super chats here. Be sure to get your comments in, of course. We'll get them up on the screen. We'll chat about this. I'm going to be live for the next hour or so, because I think this is going to be some therapy sessions, and we want to get some stuff off our chest. Nate H says, what a selfish individual. Everyone was heartbroken when he announced he had lost their child. It sickens me he can be out of touch. And again, I don't want to get too much into the tragedy side of things, because I do think that's a real tragedy, and I really do sympathise, honestly, truly sympathise with the Ronaldo family, because it's a horrible situation. That I think more so when he talks about the professional side of things, the football side of things, when he talks about, again, not respecting the manager and people trying to force him out of the club, that's where I get really disappointed. AMK with a super chat, appreciate the contribution, says, even though it's disappointing that it had to come out this way, but it comes as a whistleblower video, but the Erik ten Hag Ranić comments was unnecessary. And again, I think that's kind of my feeling on it, AMK, is that I feel that maybe this is an interview. This is, honestly, it's somewhat unprecedented what's going on right now. He's still under contract. He's still under contract at Manchester United. He's the highest paid player at the club. I understand he went up through a significant reduction in his salary when Manchester United didn't qualify for the Champions League, but is he the highest paid player in the Premier League? I think so. I mean, I don't know if someone's come in since then, but this is wild. This is absolutely incredible. And he's got the right to say what he wants, but I mean, even if you were a club that was interested in picking up Cristiano Ronaldo, and you would say, you know what, I'm a bit on the fence because he's this guy that's coming into 38 years of age, there's no real future with him, etc., etc. Why would you want to bring that into your club right now? We have criticized and scrutinized players for doing far less and saying far less in the media than what Cristiano Ronaldo has done this evening. Make no mistake about that. We have to hold everyone to the same standards we have held other people. If we had any other player come out, do a sit-down interview and talk about how the club's trying to force him out, how he feels betrayed, how he doesn't respect the manager, we would be furious. Absolutely furious. And that's what I am right now. I am absolutely furious. And I even someone like Sir Alex, right? Sir Alex, his father figure, his footballing father, as he's called him. And I understand he can say in this interview that Manchester United haven't evolved since Sir Alex retired. And that's true. But take that up with the ownership. Don't take that up with the current manager. If that's the case, what do you think Sir Alex thinks of this? Sir Alex would probably be watching this interview. Oh, here's about this. Ronaldo's completely undermined the manager this evening. And Sir Alex has let go plenty of players in the past for lesser crimes than this. We never saw the Roy Keane interview, right? We never saw the Roy Keane interview, but I would assume it was akin to kind of this, where Roy Keane was allegedly throwing some of his teammates under the bus or criticising the club, criticising the manager, criticising his teammates. One, they never aired it because it was in-house, it was on MUTV. And two, Roy Keane never played again for Manchester United because Sir Alex Ferguson went line in the sand. No, you cannot do that. You cannot do that. And at the same time as well, this was a guy, last Sunday, he was wearing the captain's armband. He was wearing the captain's armband. He's meant to be a leader. We were speaking about Alejandro Garnacho scoring his goal earlier. A couple of weeks ago, he did the Ronaldo celebration. He's his idol. He speaks about openly being his idol. What kind of standard are you setting to everyone else at the club or everyone around the world that this kind of behaviour is okay? You can't do that. You cannot do that. He's completely undermined the manager. I think it reeks of petulance. I think, as I mentioned, I think it's incredibly... I mean, like I said, I'm angry, I'm disappointed, I'm upset as well. And I think I think I'm stunned by the lack of professionalism. We all know, Cristiano Ronaldo has an ego, and you have to have an ego to achieve what he's achieved in his career. And we know Ronaldo loves to be the centre of attention. We joke about it. But what we have seen through this is just pure, as I mentioned, unprofessionalism. And I am so frustrated. And even if, and this is the thing, even if he spoke about the club forcing him out, the club wanting him out, you'd go, okay. But the comments about the manager, I think are so out of order. So out of order. How can you expect to walk back into your dressing room now? Ronaldo, he has to go in January. If there was any doubt about this guy's future, he's made it completely untenable at this point. Because, frankly, Manchester United are well within their rights to terminate his contract tomorrow. Really, truly. And I know that whenever we've spoken about Ronaldo in the past, I've done streams talking about Cristiano Ronaldo. And I know, even now, there will be people that still back Ronaldo and say, well, he has been disrespected. He's the GOAT, this, that, and the other. Even if you believe that, it's the manager's choice. It's the manager's role. It's what they're paid for. They manage the squad. They manage the players. It's the manager's decision what he does or doesn't do with a player. Cristiano Ronaldo or not. Whether you're the best player in the world or the worst player in the world. And say, well, I feel disrespected. I think it's ridiculous. And nobody, even Cristiano Ronaldo, nobody is bigger than Manchester United. And if anything, I would argue possibly Ronaldo might have shot himself in the foot, with all honesty, because if you, as I said, if you were a club that thought, well, I might have taken a chance on Cristiano Ronaldo if he's a free agent, you're looking at that and say you want to bring that into your dressing room. It's one of the Truly. For someone, I mean, it's one thing to do that interview when you've left the club as well. If he'd gone to, hypothetically, let's say he went to Napoli, let's say he went to Chelsea, whatever, and he went to that club, and then he came out and said the interview, you'd say, well, that's annoying, that's bullshit. But at the same time, he's not a Manchester United player at the moment, so okay. But he's still under contract. He's still under contract. He's still a Manchester United player. He still gets his wages paid by Manchester United on a day where he wasn't in the squad through illness. It's staggering, absolutely staggering. And I'm incredibly disappointed, as I said, really, really disappointed. Troy Superstar says, well done, CR7. Yes, you were betrayed. Be sure to smash a like on the like button, by the way, guys. Be sure to subscribe as well, bottom right-hand corner. I really don't know. Lux Hill says, Owen calls flex, please. I think he's still on the way back from the studio, so this is why it's a solo one this evening. I believe KG is also live on his channel, but we're going to have this totally covered. Don't you worry. We're going to have, obviously, tomorrow morning, we're going to have that covered, and it's so disappointed. If you are just joining us once again, Cristiano Ronaldo has had a sit-down interview with Piers Morgan. It was announced around 9 o'clock that Piers Morgan had this exclusive interview with Cristiano Ronaldo. It was the most explosive interview of his career. It was billed up as, and again, the full interview does not drop until Wednesday. So the full interview, the full context, we have not seen yet. But in terms of the quotes that are coming out, in terms of the clips that are coming out, it's front page news for the likes of The Sun tomorrow, and back page news and front page news, I think, for pretty much every newspaper tomorrow. Cristiano Ronaldo has slammed Manchester United, for lack of a better term. He has said that the club, he was asked rather if the club was trying to force him out. He said, quote, yes, not only the coach, but the other 2 or 3 around the club, I felt betrayed. I felt some people, they don't want me here, not only this year, but last season too. Which is odd, I believe, because he was brought to the club last season. If he was referring to the likes of Ralf Rangnick, I guess that's what he's referring to. But he also said he had no respect for Manchester United manager Erik ten Hag. We'll talk about that quote in just a second. Cristiano Ronaldo also claimed he'd been made the black sheep, who gets blamed for all of Manchester United's failings. When talking about Manchester United's previous interim manager Ralf Rangnick, he said, quote, if you're not even a coach, how are you going to be the boss of Manchester United? I'd never even heard of him. When he spoke about Wayne Rooney, he's been critical of his former Manchester United teammate. Ronaldo said, I don't know why he criticises me so much, probably because he's finished his career and I'm still playing at the top level. He said that since Sir Alex left, I saw no evolution in the club. Nothing had changed. This is, I think, the most and the biggest explosive comments when it comes to the current manager and the current playing staff at Manchester United. When speaking about Erik ten Hag, he said, quote, I don't have respect for him because he doesn't show respect for me. If you don't have respect for me, I'm never going to have respect for you. He also said about Sir Alex, he knows me better than anybody. He knows better than anybody that the club is not on the path they deserve to be. He knows, everybody knows. The people who don't see that, it's because they don't want to see. They are blind. And look, when he's talking about stuff like that, when he's talking about stuff like that, I don't necessarily disagree. If this interview is just him slamming the Manchester United structure or the Manchester United thought process or ideology over the last decade since Sir Alex Ferguson retired, people would have stood up and applauded. People would have said, you're absolutely right. Good for you, Ronaldo. If he'd have come out and just said, the club's on the wrong track, the club doesn't believe in success, the club doesn't want to succeed. Ever since Sir Alex has retired, the club doesn't care about success, they care about money, this, that, and the other. You'd go, absolutely, fair play, fair enough. Good for you for saying it. At least someone said it. But it's the comments about not having respect for the manager. It's the comments about trying to be betrayed or being forced out of the club is where I draw the line, truly. He also says, you have some things inside that don't help. Reach the top level of City, Liverpool, and now even Arsenal. A club with this dimension should be top of the tree, in my opinion, and they're not, unfortunately. Again, don't disagree with that. Don't disagree with that whatsoever. Ronaldo said it will require changes to Manchester United to become title challengers again, saying you have to destroy it and rebuild it. And if they start with me, for me, it's not a problem. I love Manchester United. I love the fans. They're always on my side. Well, I would debate that, certainly now. But even that, it's an oxymoron. It's an oxymoron with that, because he's saying you have to destroy it and rebuild it. We are on a rebuild phase. That's what we're currently trying to do. And why would you do this overall? If you destroyed Manchester United and rebuilt it from the ground up, why would you do it with a guy who's 38 years old at this point? Why would you do that? He must know that. And he can say that he loves Manchester United and he loves the fans, but this is a slap in the face. It's a slap in the face of Manchester United and the Manchester United fans. And again, it's really, really disappointing. Really disappointing. He also spoke about Wayne Rooney, saying, I'm not going to say that I'm looking better than him, which is true. That is true. In fairness, I don't know if you've seen old Wayne at the moment. It's not great. When talking about joining Manchester United, he said, I followed my heart. He, referring to Sir Alex, said to me, it's impossible for you to come to Manchester City. And I said, okay, boss. He also spoke once again about Ralph Rangnick, saying a big club like Manchester United bringing in a sporting director like Rangnick surprised not only me but the whole world. This guy is not even a coach. Nothing has changed since I left. The pool, the jacuzzi, even the gym, even some technology, even the chefs who I appreciate, lovely people. I thought I would see new technology, infrastructure. I saw things I saw when I was 20, 21, 23. And again, that stuff there, I have no issue with him shining a light on that whatsoever. Truly, I don't. It's very, very cheeky, and frankly, it's very unprofessional still because he's under contract to Manchester United. But him criticising the infrastructure of the club, him criticising the facilities at the club, him saying that the club hasn't developed or hasn't carried on, I don't necessarily have an issue with that. The timing of it's wrong, and for it to come out the day of a Manchester United game after they've won a match, we would say is disrespectful. And once again, we're talking about Cristiano Ronaldo. But if he just slags off the club in terms of, the ownership and the lack of investment and the lack of facilities, you would go fair enough because we've been crying about that the whole time. But again, it's the comments about the manager, it's the comments about being betrayed and forced out of the club that I have an issue with. And frankly, it's staggering. Absolutely staggering what we see. Again, front page news on The Sun tomorrow. United have betrayed me. I don't have respect for Erik ten Hag. I've been made the black sheep. That is, it really is absolutely unbelievable, truly. And the question now is there any way back? Do you believe that there's any way back? Personally, I think it's a redundant question, frankly. There is no way back for Cristiano Ronaldo. How could he be accepted by his peers after this? How could he be accepted by his fellow players at the club? How could he be accepted by the manager? Let alone the court of public opinion. I think while some fans, because Ronaldo continues to, every time we've spoken about Ronaldo, there have been people that have been for, people that have been against. You disrespected him, he's the GOAT, this, that, and the other. But how can you walk into a dressing room of Manchester United players now? You cannot. And the disappointing thing for me is that I touched on when I started the stream, with the stuff that happened before, when he walked out, and you can't forget that either, he walked out on his teammates. Not only did he physically walk out, he's kind of metaphorically done it now via what he's done with this interview. He's thrown them completely under the bus. And, again, how could he be welcomed back into that dressing room at this point? How? I think certainly a point could be made that this is almost I'm going to force myself out this time. I'm not going to allow what happened in the summer. What happened in the summer, he can talk about being betrayed and the club trying to force him out. I think he's trying to force himself out. Make no mistake here. Let's look through what's actually being said. He wanted out in the summer. He didn't get out in the summer. There were clubs not interested in him in the summer. There was one credible offer on the table. It was from a Saudi Arabian club. Every other club that was linked to Cristiano Ronaldo in the summer did not make an offer. They publicly withdrew interest in him. Whether it was Chelsea, whether it was Atletico Madrid, whether it was Napoli, whether it was Sporting, whether it was whoever, they all said, I don't want Cristiano Ronaldo. And what happened was, come the end of the window, because there were no offers on the table, he had to stay when he didn't want to stay. For whatever reason, he had to stay when he didn't want to have to stay. And now that this part of the season's finished, and now that the World Cup's on the horizon, now that possibly he might think, well, I'm not going to play for Manchester United until January anyway, he's probably thinking, I'm making sure what happened in the summer does not happen again. And granted, totally granted, I feel like, there probably is some context, some, not a lot, but there is some context missing from some of this. Because at the same time, we haven't seen the whole interview. And I think it's important when it does come out on Wednesday to watch the whole interview and really dissect it bit by bit. Because obviously journalists can lead you in a certain direction. You can be asked leading questions. But at the same time, these quotes speak for themselves. And it's just, like I said, it does not sit right with me. It does not. We got some super chats as well here. I want to make sure that I get all of them because there's quite a few. Who was the top one? That's Stratos. One more here. Here we go. Tuna Beast 900. What a name that is. Says, Cristiano Ronaldo has the same ego like CM Punk. Oh, don't get me started on that. Stratos Steph says, finally we're getting a new striker. We might be busy when it comes to January. Troy says, well done, CR7. You were betrayed. Oh, I spoke about that one earlier. Okay, Troy. Caleb says, no, Owen, he exposes the Glazers. That's good. Again, I do agree on that. I will retract slightly on that. Whilst he doesn't call out the Glazers by name, as far as I've seen on the quotes, the parts where he talks about the club lacking in terms of development and lacking in terms of infrastructure, don't have a problem with that at all. I don't. And if anything, good. Someone comes out in a public forum that says that. It's kind of wild that they're doing that whilst they're at the club. But still, I don't have a problem with that. It's when he talks about his current manager and says that he's been trying, people are trying to force him out of the club or he feels betrayed. That's where I have to push back, in my opinion. Troy says, CR7, Ten Hag dished you. He's a mediocre manager. Troy, I mean, you're trolling at this point. Saying, CR7, we remember you long after. Ten Hag is bang average. Can't tie CR7. But well, obviously, look, Troy, I cannot convince you because clearly you have your person that you're after. It says, stop being a crybaby, Owen. We can talk about CR7, Garnacho, and still celebrate our win. Ten Hag is a mediocre manager. Must respect CR7. Love you, CR. I think you might be a troll, Troy, because you're saying love you, CR7. Okay, fine. Marlon says, bro, him criticizing the club or our manager is one in the same. He's still getting paid from the organization. Your own logic is collapsing on itself. Look, again, so you're saying about me criticizing the club or the manager is one in the same. He's still getting paid from the organization. I'm not trying to defend him if that's what you're implying. I'm certainly not defending him whatsoever. I'm furious with what he said this evening. I think, like I said, I would still say it's very unprofessional, but I would not have as much of an issue of him criticizing the club, for instance, saying that there has been no investment, as I've said, or the structure of Manchester United is wrong. But when he criticizes the manager, I have a massive problem with that. A massive saying he doesn't respect the manager because he allegedly doesn't respect him. I think if you would ask Erik ten Hag, I think he'd say he absolutely respects Cristiano Ronaldo. So, I'm not sure what your point is there, but appreciate the contribution as always. Troy says, Ten Hag must apologise to CR7 and respect him. 700 goals. Cameron says, this means he's leaving. Expose the Glazers first, which I think is what he's certainly doing when it comes to the lack of investment. And Shafi says he knows that it's over. He can't handle it. So he's swinging his axe like a madman. Take a look in the mirror at CR7. This is just BS. And I think we're caught up there. Be sure to smash a like on the like button, guys. Be sure to subscribe as well. Bottom right hand corner. As I mentioned, I'm sure that this Cristiano Ronaldo... we've only really got the start of it, of course. Let's talk. When it comes to the full interview coming out next week on Wednesday, when it's going to come out. Certainly, we're gonna get more context, and I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing. Frankly, I don't know if that's good or bad because there might be some things, and as is the case sometimes with these kind of interviews, that sometimes what you think is the most salacious, the most salacious, biggest headlines, sometimes are the things that don't get put out there immediately. And when it does come to the future of CR7, when it comes to the future of Ronaldo, clearly it's not at Manchester United anymore. There is no way back. There is no way back. Whether you are a Ronaldo fan or not, and whatever your opinion is of the things that he has said in this interview, whether you think they're good, whether you think they're bad, there is no way back for Cristiano Ronaldo now. There can't be. How can Manchester United welcome this guy back into the club, into the fold? He can't. They cannot do that. Again, even if you are pro CR7, which I've seen quite a few in the chat are, and that is what it is. I've always We've had conflicting opinions on this, and social media and everyone, I think, is quite conflicted because there are CR7 fans that, irrespective of what he does and what he says, will always back him, and I guess that's commendable. Or whether you see an interview like tonight and you say that is completely out of order, it's unprofessional, it's disrespectful. Doesn't matter who you are, you cannot do that, and you cannot say some of the things that he has said. The crux of it is he is done at Manchester United. He is done. There is no coming back. How can he be welcomed back into the Manchester United fold now? How can, as a manager, if Erik ten Hag, let's think about this. If Erik ten Hag as a manager plays Cristiano Ronaldo again, what does that say for him? What does that say for his authority? What does that say? What message does that send to the rest of the squad? Ronaldo walked out on his teammates against Spurs, and Erik ten Hag, again, to maintain his authority and show that he is in charge, had to drop Ronaldo, had to have him training with the under-21s to ensure that his authority, his integrity was maintained. How can he come back from this, Ronaldo? If Erik ten Hag bows down and goes, oh, yeah, sorry, I got it wrong. And again, now, the next, thankfully, I suppose, there isn't a Manchester United press conference in ages, because can you imagine the scrutiny? And even after the World Cup, the first press conference he's going to be asked about this. And what response is he supposed to give? What position is he in right now? An untenable one, that Ronaldo will have to go. And again, we'll wait till the interview comes out to get a bit more context, but the quotes don't look good. A super chat from Giovanni says, we need more information, but definitely disagree with his take on Erik ten Hag. Sadly, he is digging his own grave here. I blame Madrid and Perez on his attitude. And Giovanni, I appreciate the contribution there. And I do agree. As I've said, I do think you need to have watch the whole interview when it comes out Wednesday for more context. But even if those quotes that came out this evening were taken out of context, I mean, what kind of context is he saying that he doesn't respect the Manchester United manager, or the club's trying to force him out, or they lacked empathy for his tragedy? I mean, these are really serious and heavy words he is saying here. And again, I believe that it's a way of, he can say that they're trying to force him out. I think he's trying to also force his way out of the club, because I don't think he wants to have, and for I guess understandable reasons, he doesn't want to have circumstances that he's had for the last 6 months. He doesn't want to be sitting on the bench for the remainder of his career, or when he knows that the time is finite when it comes to his footballing career. He doesn't want to be sitting on the bench and not playing. He wants to be playing for the short time he has left. So because of that, he wants to ensure that he doesn't have to stay for a minute longer than he has to. And previously it was thought, well, he might not go in January because United don't want to do any business in January, so he's going to be leaving at the end of the season. He went, end of the season? You kidding me? End of the season? I'm leaving it. I'm gone. I'm gone now. And it'll be interesting to see also when does the club react? What does the club do? Do they immediately come out tomorrow and condemn it? Do they come out tomorrow and say Ronaldo's gone, he's never coming back? Do they wait and see when the full interview drops? Did they even know? Did they even know about this interview? Because if they didn't, I mean, they could have been just as blindsided as you or I. I mean, maybe they weren't. Ronaldo weren't in the squad today. It was and Thursday. That was because of illness. We don't know when this interview was filmed. And I don't really want to be getting into facts that we don't know about, but I'd love to know when this interview was filmed, because if it's been recorded, let's say, in the last week, in the last 7 days, then suddenly some things start to add up and make more sense. Because if United got wind of this, a week or so ago, things start to add up and start to make a bit more sense. But at the same time, as I mentioned, this was the guy that was captain in Manchester United. And everyone said that last Sunday when he was the captain for Manchester United against Aston Villa. Everyone said, well, that's a big statement of support, is it not, by Erik ten Hag, considering what's been going on. Considering what's been going on at Manchester United, that's a statement of support, isn't it? That, we've put it into the past, we're going to move on. It was an incident that happened, we're going to move on, and now this happens. I'd love Piers Morgan to come out and say when it was interviewed, certainly, because I think that would actually add quite even more context to the situation. Nick with a super chat says, why is everyone so divided over this? He is the GOAT. He is and stays a legend of the club, but even a legend can make a bad call / mistake. Both are true. I mean, but I would argue, and I wouldn't still disagree that he's, one of, if not the greatest player to ever kick a football. I think that's absolutely fair. A legend of the club. What he's done for the club in the past cannot be taken away, and it will not be taken away. The trophies he won and the feats he achieved as a Manchester United player cannot be taken away. Has it tainted his legacy? It's a part of his story now, certainly. When you talk to people about Cristiano Ronaldo at Manchester United, they will refer to how this second spell has ended and the fact that it has and is ending very, very ugly. Very ugly indeed. And how he came out in a public forum, in an interview with a renowned journalist and said the things that he said. A bad call or a mistake is, losing your head possibly and walking out of the match before you're meant to, which by the way he did in pre-season too, and that's making us a bad call and a bad mistake. But then this also is not good. Cameron says, by the way, guys, we won a match today, overshadowed again. And look, it is going to overshadow the game. It's already overshadowed the game. And you're right, we did win a game today. And ironically, the goal scorer was someone that absolutely idolizes Cristiano Ronaldo. And as I've said, what message does that send to people like Garnacho? What message does it send to people that do admire him at the club? Because it's completely unprofessional. And again, when he's talking about the failings of the club, I keep having to stress this here. When he's talking about the failings of the club and the lack of investment or infrastructure, I think that's good. But, the other stuff, it's insane. Absolutely insane. This would not happen at any other club. Would any other player, and again, people might disagree, though the Ronaldo fan base might disagree with me here, but would any other player really have the balls to do this? Because I don't think other clubs would be willing to pick him up if they did. And I think it's unbelievable. I think it really is unbelievable. And we talk so much. I've sat on streams when people have been so unhappy and upset with Player FC, and I understand that this might be the biggest Player FC because it's Cristiano Ronaldo and he's the GOAT and all this kind of stuff, but it's incredible. It's incredible. And again, you cannot take away that Cristiano Ronaldo is the, for me, when the guy said this at the top of the video, whenever anyone asked me, Ronaldo or Messi, and this hasn't changed because of this interview, because I think it's flippant to change your opinion based on an interview like this when it comes to talent or quality. When I was ever asked Ronaldo or Messi, I always said Ronaldo, and I still will. I would still always say Ronaldo. The reason why is I would say that Messi's ability, he's born with it. It's natural. I think I respect Cristiano Ronaldo more for what he's achieved in his career because he had talent, but he worked. He put in the work. He put in the effort. He had the grit, the determination, and the drive and the desire. And I don't think you can take away from that. You cannot. And an interview like this does not take away from his status as one of, if not the greatest player of all time. It cannot take away. And it doesn't take away from his achievements. But certainly, I have lost a lot of respect for him because I think the moment you come out in a public forum and say you don't respect your manager, I think it's ridiculous. And to those that justify it because he's Ronaldo, I think is insane. I cannot understand that logic. Why he's Ronaldo, he can come out and say that he doesn't like his manager. Seriously? That's crazy. There's a couple of other parts of this story now that I've just sort of seen in the last minute or so. Again, bear with me. We are live, so things will be continuing to go on and things will be released as I'm live. I tried to jump on as quickly as possible, to be honest. I did see something. I believe it was from James Ducker of the Telegraph. I might be wrong here. I want to make sure that I get this right, and it is in front of me. But I think I did see something from James Ducker of the Telegraph that essentially said that Manchester United have been asked for comment, but they haven't heard anything at this time. So, you know. Ronaldo had also said that senior executives at Old Trafford even doubted him when he explained why he couldn't return, which made him feel hurt and bad, referring to the situation this summer. Cristiano Ronaldo accuses Manchester United of a lack of empathy, especially when his 3-month-old daughter was hospitalised in July and he could not return in time for pre-season training because he wanted to stay with her. Ronaldo said senior executives at Old Trafford even doubted him when he explained why he couldn't return, which made him feel hurt and bad. Ronaldo was disillusioned to find Manchester United could no longer sign the world's very best players, making their chance of winning top trophies much harder. He also says, when it comes to the fans for me are everything. This is why I give this interview, because I think it's the right time to speak my mind. They are always on my side. I feel that every time when I go out, when I walk in the streets, the fans come up to me and they appreciate what I do for football. Ronaldo said he wants to focus on the World Cup and win it for Portugal and then come back and resolve things at United one way or the other. Well, certainly they will be resolved. There's no doubt about that. They'll be resolved, and I think they're resolved with him leaving the club. Again, I don't think there's any way to come back from this. And he can say that he's speaking for the fans and the fans are on his side, and that's not for me to tell you. You can make your own call on that. I'm just giving my opinion on this. And as I said, I think if he came out and bashed, the ownership, which we all want change, if he came out and criticised the facilities and said, like, what's happened to Manchester United? When I was here under Sir Alex, this was a different club. We used to compete for things. We used to win things. And now I've come back here and I don't even recognise this place anymore. And this is a disgrace. It's a cheat. And he came back and said that, he'd probably get a standing ovation. And if he said, I did that for the fans, you'd say, fair play. Fair play. Things aren't going well for you, but you've hit out at the executives. Fair enough. You'll still probably be gone because they're not going to put up with that, but still fair enough. But the other side of things, again, when he talks about the manager, that is just, it's crazy. And to be honest, we knew this was coming. We knew this interview was coming because he told us. I suppose we can't act totally surprised that he's come out and said these things because when was it? 2 or 3 months ago? I think he said I think he said that this interview was coming, and he said that he was going to tell all, and it was going to be this big interview and all this kind of stuff. So, people had kind of almost forgotten a little bit about that. I guess they thought it was hot air. Hot air is it not? Hot air is it certainly not. But as I said, I think from a Ten Hag perspective, if you were Erik Ten Hag now, let me know in the chat and I'll get your comments up on the screen. What would you do? If you were the Manchester United manager now and you saw that, and again, there is some context that we don't know at the moment. We don't know the full interview. At the same time, we don't know what United knew or how much they knew about this. They could have known entirely everything about the interview. They could have known nothing about the interview. Erik Ten Hag could have been firmly aware of this. They might not have been aware of this at all. So it's difficult to kind of really, truly say what they did and didn't know and how they're going to react to this. I think if they had no idea about it and they're blindsided by it, it's an even worse a situation because it's... Can you imagine? If they did know about it, again, you can then potentially look at some of the situations over the last 7 days about Ronaldo not being involved in the squad rather, and in the team, illness. But we don't know about that. But if you were Erik Ten Hag, what would you do? Do you nip this in the bud quickly? Do you say to those above you, like, it's me or him, essentially? He's got to be gone. He's made my position untenable. His position at the club's untenable. Do you consult your leaders in the club? Do you consult your captains? Do you consult the leaders in the locker room and say, are you even content for him to be your teammate anymore? Like, what would you do if you're Manchester United, as just, people like Richard Arnold and John Murtough and even the Glazers? Do they say, well, he makes a lot of money for us, but even this is untenable? Like, what do you do at this point? I know what I think Sir Alex Ferguson would do, and Sir Alex Ferguson would not have any of it. He would be gone like that. And you could argue why this wouldn't happen under Sir Alex because Sir Alex would treat him better. I suppose he probably would. But if it was any other player, and as I mentioned, if any other player spoke the way that Cristiano Ronaldo has spoken in this interview, we would all be incredulous with rage. But because it's Ronaldo, some people are willing to say that he's, whatever. Gavin Carey, one of my favorite accounts, says, anyone saying CR7 is a legend, my DP is for you. And if you cannot see, it's Mr. Gavin Carey with a middle finger. Tremendous account. Lucas Pereira says his ego is blinding him to the fact that he is no longer good enough to start either in Man United or Portugal. This is coming from a huge fan of him. And also actually let me know if you were one of those big Ronaldo fans, or you still are, has that changed your opinion of him as well? And Mr. Maxi says he is toxic, and fair play to Erik ten Hag for weeding him out before it ruins the dressing room. Weeding him out, excuse me. Players seem to seem rather on Team Ten Hag. It's a bit late, sorry. I'm just struggling to read. Ono says rip his contract up. Giovanni says all of this, and I bet money he stays until June. Asher says terminate his contract. Shah says, where's the whole interview? Whole interview's not out until Wednesday. These are just the top headlines that we're hearing right now, the top tier headlines. So again, we have to wait and see full context, but certainly what we are seeing, it's not great. Take Time says, if I was Erik ten Hag, I would play him in the under-23s until June. Wizard says, Owen, United are in the wrong. This is a HR matter. They disrespected an employee. But again, even with that, this whole thing of being disrespected, Wizard, and again, I know there are those that are never going to agree with me on this, and that's fine, but I don't understand how you say your manager disrespected you, and you say, okay, why? How did he disrespect you? And the way that Ronaldo has been disrespected is by being put on the bench or not being played. Again, the last time I checked, that's the manager's decision. That's the manager's job to pick the team. To pick the team that he believes, in his mind, can give Manchester United the best chance of winning games. And frankly, let's be completely honest this season. When Cristiano Ronaldo has played, have we played well? I can count on one hand the amount of times that Ronaldo's played for United and played well. We have looked a different side of him. And Father Time waits for no one, even Cristiano Ronaldo. Father Time does not wait. And you could argue today, did we play better without Ronaldo? Second half, we were really poor. It's a difficult one to judge today. But it's the manager's choice. If the disrespect comes from him being put on the bench or being asked to behave like any other player in the squad, how is that disrespectful? I don't understand that. JK says Jordan Peterson and Piers Morgan led him to this. And I think we might be caught up there. But be sure to smash a like on the like button as well, guys. Still got nearly 1,400 people watching. Be sure to subscribe as well, bottom right-hand corner. As I mentioned, we are going to get everyone else's opinion on this, not just myself. This was kind of just me seeing it and going live immediately whilst everyone was still sort of making their way back from the match today, etc. So obviously we'll be live 9 o'clock tomorrow morning, still discussing this. And obviously it's going to be clearly a massive talking point in the next 7 days until the World Cup. And frankly as well, I'm not going to say it's going to overshadow the World Cup, because it's not. The World Cup is the World Cup. But clearly, when Portugal play in the World Cup, they'll talk about Ronaldo and they'll talk about this. It's something now that is out there. And again, it's going to be, even if it simmers down a little bit, it's going to be put back out there Wednesday. And it's just going to continue to be out there until Manchester United do something about it. Because there's now, a month or so until Manchester United, or over a month or so, until Manchester United play once again in the Premier League. And make no mistake, Cristiano Ronaldo will not be playing for Manchester United on the 27th of December against, who's it against? Is it Bournemouth? Bournemouth or Forest? I think it might be Forest. He will not be playing in that game. He will not. Because you can't, as a coach, come back from this. The game says Ronaldo is finished and his fans can't take it. Philip Owen says, it's shocking. Yet again, he refused to go to pre-season. He wanted to leave 2 days before deadline day and Ten Hag sanctioned his move. CR7 bye. Well, look, again, in fairness to Ronaldo, because there will be those that saying I'm being biased and you're not being fair to Ronaldo. He is saying in this interview that he didn't go on pre-season, or he couldn't return rather in time for pre-season because of a family issue, which was that his 3-year-old daughter was ill. Now, I remember that was the line giving out to us at the time from Ronaldo and from the club, and always, I totally respected that, and I think it's really important to respect that. When it comes to him not attending preseason because of a family matter, whenever anyone says a family matter, you have to hold your hands up and say, okay, family's more important. This is just a game. I know it's, whatever, but it's just a game at the end of the day. I know it's a profession and it entertains a lot of people around the world, but it's a family matter, fine. It's the other stuff. Again, it's the other stuff that I have a massive issue with. It's the undermining of the coach. It's the undermining of the club that I have an issue with, especially when he's under contract. He's still getting it. At the end of next week, Cristiano Ronaldo will get paid by Manchester United. At the end of the following week, Cristiano Ronaldo will get his wages paid by Manchester United. At the end of the next week, he'll get his wages paid by Manchester United. He's still under contract. He's still the highest paid player at the club. And to dress it up with, it's because I love Manchester United so much and I'm hurt by Manchester United, come on. You can be hurt by the state of disrepair that the club's got into, and that's fine. But don't try and dress this up like, it's just because of the club. It's because of Ronaldo. Cristiano Ronaldo's a fan of one person and one thing, and that's himself. It's always been the case that way. And again, if he does expose the failings of the club, then that's fine. But again, his comments about the manager are just unacceptable and unprofessional. Totally unprofessional. And the message that he's sending to whoever his next employers is, you play me, otherwise I'm going to come out in the media and I'm going to slag you off. I'm going to come out and I'm going to say bad shit about you. I'm going to say that you're disrespectful and I don't respect you. What does he expect Manchester United to do? So the manager's not playing him. Does he expect that they should sack the manager for a manager that does play him? This isn't Real Madrid in the mid-2000s where Ronaldo gets to pick the manager. What kind of message does that send? And the key thing now, certainly, is Manchester United, they have to get this right. The reaction to this has to be dead on and spot on. And the same for Erik ten Hag. The reaction to this and the response to this has to be absolutely spot on. And credit to Ten Hag, because last time, when it came to the Tottenham incident, when he walked out, I thought the club and Erik ten Hag managed that absolutely excellently. He nipped it in the bud when it came to the press conference. He demoted Ronaldo as well. And he trained with the under-21s. And then Ronaldo came back to the squad and it was put behind. And then Ten Hag made him the captain for Aston Villa. And now this all comes out now. The reaction to Manchester United has to be key. And I only see one reaction being feasible. He can't be brought back in. Even if Ten Hag wanted him to, even if Ten Hag was like, well, I know Ronaldo isn't really what I'm looking for, but he's still Cristiano Ronaldo. We need a striker. We're not going to get a striker to the summer. We've got to do what we've got to do. He's been backed into a corner now. The club's been backed into a corner. They have no option but to terminate his contract in January and find someone else. And again, in my opinion, that's why Ronaldo's done what he's done. Because he doesn't want to have what happened to him in the summer, which is stayed at a club that he didn't want to stay at, obviously. That's it. He's calling United's bluff, essentially. This is a game of poker right now. Caleb with the super chat says he's exposing the Glazers. That's good. I've said it a million times. I'm sorry if I'm repeating myself, but I don't have an issue with those comments. But the other stuff is just ridiculous, frankly. Mr. Maxi says, forget this interview. He's trying to destroy the club reputation and calling out names publicly. Imagine what Sir Alex would have done. Well, we said earlier on that, under Sir Alex, I mean, this is, I wouldn't say an instance like this have happened because, again, this is pretty unprecedented, to be honest. But, even with the Roy Keane interview, which we never saw publicly because it was deemed too bad for Manchester United, that led to him leaving the club. No club. We have said this so many times. No one player is bigger than Manchester United. No one. And it can never work like that. It never has, and it never will at any club. No one player is bigger than the club, because if you get like that, the club will spiral out of control. Lord knows. And this is what I don't understand as well. We have, it's been so outspoken about wanting for Player FC to end and to have a manager that stamps his authority on this players and is in charge, and the club backs, and whatever the manager deems appropriate, they back the manager, they believe in the manager. But a part of it's Cristiano Ronaldo. A part of it's Cristiano Ronaldo, then no. Ten Hag's in the wrong. Here's the what I was looking for when it came to James Ducker. I was talking about James Ducker from The Telegraph earlier on. He said that Manchester United won't comment tonight and allow Cristiano Ronaldo's interview to take anything away at their end from the win at Fulham and the spirit and togetherness the squad and fans showed. Which is quite interesting because that itself is practically a comment. That itself is practically a comment. I don't know if that's the exact verbiage that has been used by Manchester United to respond to that, but just once again, James Ducker is reporting that Manchester United won't comment tonight and allow Cristiano Ronaldo's interview to take anything away at their end from the win at Fulham and the spirit and togetherness the squad and the fans showed. Again, I don't know if that's verbatim from Manchester United, but even that last bit is tantamount to a comment, isn't it? When you say, oh, we're not going to say anything this evening because we don't want to take away from the spirit and togetherness, emphasis on togetherness of the squad and the fans. It's also being reported that the attitude of the young players at Manchester United, not interested in what the Portuguese player, Ronaldo, had to say or had to teach, also disappointed Ronaldo. But he said that publicly in other interviews. That's hardly anything of a revelation. But again, this is when it comes back to throwing your teammates under the bus. And obviously Ronaldo's allowed to criticize, I guess, some of the younger players, but privately, you know, again, going back to that Roy Keane interview that never aired, by all accounts, he criticised younger players. I think one of them at the time was a Darren Fletcher and some others, saying that they didn't have what it took to be Manchester United players and they weren't up to snuff. And as Sir Alex Ferguson said in all of his interviews he did once he retired, that you cannot, the club cannot run like that. It can't. You know, and maybe this is what he wants to do, as I said, to make himself somewhat of a pariah, so that the club just determined that even to basically get through the Glazers' heads, even the amount of money he's making us, it's not worth it at this point. It's not worth it. And what's interesting, I think, as I said before we wrap things up, is that I see some comments like this from Elio. And again, I think these people are Ronaldo fans. Apologies if I'm wrong there. Say again, tell me what experience does Ten Hag have? And to be honest, it doesn't necessarily matter, because if you're the Manchester United manager, it's in your title. You have the call. If you're a manager of a club, if you're a head coach of the club, irrespective of what players you are, if you get into the mindset of backing players over coaches, then that is not sustainable. We have seen at Manchester United what happens. We have seen what happens when you back players over managers. Frankly, the fact of how many managers we've been through in the last decade is because we backed players over the coach. And we didn't stick to a vision. We didn't stick to a pathway. And frankly, we've had some big name managers at Manchester United fail because we backed players over managers. We cannot do that again. We cannot. Manchester United isn't built on that. Manchester United is built by having a manager that has authority over the entire club, over the entire dressing room. And no one player is bigger than the club. That's it. Player power cannot thrive at Manchester United, even if it's the greatest player of all time. And the thing is, Ronaldo knows that. Ronaldo does know that. I don't see this interview as Cristiano Ronaldo having this rebellion for a cause to make things better at the club. This interview is about one thing, and that's Ronaldo getting out of Manchester United. It's about Cristiano Ronaldo securing his exit away from Manchester United, getting the move he wanted in the summer. That is it. Ronaldo wants out. And you can argue about the reasons why Ronaldo wants out, and he is ensuring he will be out because he can't be back in after this. He can't. That's it. And you can start talking about people's CVs and their achievements and this and that and the other. But ultimately, the manager's say is final. It has to be. That's how football clubs work. And I understand in this modern FIFA generation or whatever, oh, he's a good player, I like this player. No. Football cannot operate like that. Look at the clubs that are successful right now. Look at the clubs that are winning the Premier League, that are competing from England. Whether they are Man City, whether they are Liverpool, whether they are Arsenal right now. No player at Manchester City is bigger than Pep Guardiola. If Pep Guardiola had a falling out of Erling Haaland tomorrow, it wouldn't be Pep that's going. It'd be Haaland. Klopp's the same at Liverpool. No one player is bigger than Jurgen Klopp. If Mo Salah started messing Klopp around, he would rip up that new contract he signed and Mo Salah would be gone. It's the same with Arsenal. He had to get rid of those big players, and now he's in charge of that club. That dressing room is run by Mikel Arteta. And people can say, well, you're saying people like Haaland and Salah are the same as Ronaldo. No, I'm not. I'm saying Ronaldo still is and always will be the greatest of all time. But at the same time, the managers say is final, because that's how football works. And you can't have a club with the history, the size, the structure of Manchester United bowing to player power. And Ronaldo knows that. This is all about, in my opinion, Ronaldo facilitating an exit from Manchester United, and he is getting it. He is getting it. That will be it. And because you can't come back from that. And that is what that is. So there you go, guys. We've been on for about an hour. As I said, this will continue. Clearly, this will keep going and keep rumbling on. I think I'm caught up with the super chats. I believe so. Here we go. Job Maku says, Eriksen and Garnacho, first Premier League goal for United overshadowed. And certainly the result is going to be overshadowed. I agree. Be sure to smash a like on the like button, guys, as well. Be sure to subscribe, bottom right-hand corner. We've still got nearly 1,300 people watching. Let's see if we can get to 500 likes for what is certainly an eventful evening. And look, I totally understand that the comments might still somehow, I don't understand, but some people, irrespective of what Ronaldo does and says, will back him, and that's fine. You know, that's fine, because I cannot change your opinion. And honestly, I don't want to. I don't want to try and persuade anyone to change their opinion. I think people should come up with their own opinions, whether we agree or disagree. It's important that we're respectful at the same time. We're talking about respect here. But, you know, in my opinion, like I said, there's no way back. That is what that is. So be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe, bottom right-hand corner. Remember, you can join the UV Members Club. Links in the video description. It's also the pinned comment in the live chat. It is a match day. A crazy one. It is a match day. So all of the fan views are currently out on the channel. We obviously got the likes of Flex, KG, Mina, Paolo, Louis, myself. All of the fan views after the game. You can go watch the match view as well to see the last minute euphoria of Alejandro Garnacho's goal. Tomorrow, I will be live, 9 a.m. Once again, probably to talk about Cristiano Ronaldo and the fallout, and possibly an update from Manchester United's perspective on what's going on right now with Cristiano Ronaldo. Tomorrow, also, it's Monday. You know what that means. Full View will be live, 7 p.m. Certainly, there's going to be so much to get into and so many different opinions to get into when it comes to Ronaldo. So, plenty of content coming on the horizon. Plus, the World Cup starts next week. We're going to be all over that as well. So, as I mentioned, be sure to smash a like on the like button. We're about 100 likes away from 500. So, if we get to 500, that'd be amazing. I really appreciate you joining me, guys, this evening. As I mentioned, not everyone's going to agree, but that's what football's all about. It's all about opinion. It's all about having great discussion. So I'll speak with you again very soon, and we'll be up top of the morning, 9 a.m. Have a good one. Peace.